Welcome, 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 welcome. What a wonderful opportunity this is for all of us. His Holiness will be here in just a moment, but I wanted to say hello to everyone before he gets here. I think there's a lot of people who've been here for the last few days. Can you raise your hand if you've been here for the teachings over the last 3 days? Yeah, a lot of people here. And a lot of newcomers. Who has not seen His Holiness before? Oh, that's great. New friends. New friends. You know, there's an old Japanese saying that under cherry trees there are no strangers. And I think that's particularly true around His Holiness the Dalai Lama. And especially over the last 3 days of these incredible teachings we've had, I think His Holiness has created a very large cherry tree for us all to be under and realize that we really are brothers and sisters here. It's been an extraordinary time and the opportunity for all of us now to listen to His Holiness and learn how to make a meaningful life, I think is very special for all of us. His Holiness is a very well-known person on the planet at this point, but just a few brief words. His Holiness was born in 1935. And in a time and space very far away from us in the West, but even in his own time and space, it was a farming village very far away from the capital. When he was 2 years old, he was found, and soon after that enthroned as the 14th Dalai Lama. When he was a teenager, the Chinese invaded Tibet in 1949, 1950. His Holiness did the best he could to protect his people and their culture and Buddhism. And by 1959, it became totally untenable, and he escaped into exile with now over 120,000 Tibetans, living now all over the world. He has since won the Nobel Peace Prize in 1989. A few years ago, he won the Congressional Gold Medal, which is the highest award that can be given by the people of the United States of America, and was awarded by the President himself. And I think has won probably every other possible award for humanitarian work and spirit and good heart that we can give on this planet. When I was thanking people yesterday for the last few days of teachings, there was one person that I did not thank, and it was horrendous that I didn't. We wouldn't be getting these teachings without the extraordinary interpreter who has been working with us. And Thupten Jinpa has just done the most incredible job over the last decade. He's been a personal friend of mine for, I think, almost 25 years now. But there's no way we could get the depth of these extraordinary teachings without his knowledge of English, and obviously his knowledge of his Tibetan, of His Holiness, and of deep, deep depth of the teachings, especially on emptiness and shunya. So we really owe almost everything to his interpretations. Now, without further ado, I'd like to bring out one of the great men of our time, a man who's touched all of our hearts, His Holiness the Dalai Lama.
So, last 3 days talks about spirituality, and particularly about Buddhism. Now today, my talk, purely secular. Sorry. Okay. Again, another work. So I think already delayed. Then furthermore, remain like this. Now, I always happy meeting with people, a public talk. That is, I think, a proper way, is it to share more people about method, how to achieve happy life without touching religion. So that secular way. But at the same time, I always make clear what is the meaning of secularism. You know, my Indian friend, actually one politician and a former Deputy Prime Minister of India. One time, he told me one of the reasons India, since independence, is very successfully carried a democratic sort of practice or democratic system. The reason is the 1,000 years in India, there is a tradition or habit, different views, different concept. So a lot of sort of disagreement, argue, or criticize. But the person who holds that view usually respect. So he made one example, one tradition, spiritual tradition, they call Charvaka, denying existence of God, or existence of next life, or existence of karma, nothing, just this life, just day-to-day life. So that view, of course, nihilism. The rest of the spiritual tradition criticize that. So that view is nihilistic view, wrong. However, person who holding that view refer rishi. Rishi means sage. Sage. So respect. He mentioned that. So it is very true. The pluralism among different traditions, among pluralism of religion, almost 3,000 years remain that way. So secularism means, according to Indian tradition, respect all religions, people who have different views, respect. And then, so secularism means respect all religion, no preference of one particular religion. So one ancient non-believer, atheist, also is referred as a sage and respect. So in modern time, non-believer, we must respect them. They're also human beings. And furthermore, they, out of 6 billion, major portion, essentially non-believer. So firstly, we must respect them, and then also, they also want happy life, equal right. And then the problem, usually, you see people who have no interest about religion, they also see no longer any interest about these inner value, because they felt these are part of religious practice. Yes, in a way, true. All major religion traditions, as I mentioned before, carry practice of love, compassion. These are main practice. So make distinction, believer, non-believer, religious faith only for believer. Non-believer, no religious faith, but they also want happy life. So the practice of, compassion, these things. Oh, where have gone my rosary? Because lash away, class has still left. My rosary, I think at the room where, here, let me check. What? Oh, here. Because of feeling of mind. So a little bit, because of anxiety. So at that very moment, the feeling of I become a little stronger. Good. So now, basically, I think I already mentioned, you see, today's world, I think basically, generally speaking, people, I think, firstly, I think some trouble because of lack of principle. And then also the people who very much sort of, too much sort of the unhappy sort of mind, that brought frustration transform violence. So in such sort of period, you see, it is important to make clear the peace of mind or compassionate mind is something very important for building a stable, peaceful society, community, and less sort of problem, less crisis, man-made crisis. And then individuals themselves also, you see, get maximum benefit to this inner peace or, yes, inner peace. So the basis of promotion of, inner value, mainly our common experience and common sense and the latest scientific finding. These three things. I think I mentioned briefly, I think at the beginning of my teaching. So common experience, we all born from our mother. So all the mammals and also birds, even I think the butterfly, I notice some eggs, the mother, of course they never meeting. So, but the way egg put, they all, I think, 20, 30 of them is put together. I noticed many years ago, in the early 60s, and the veranda, there are some flowers, and some flower is very receptive to receive these eggs. So I noticed within, I think, 1 or 2 days, these eggs hatch. Then this poor, helpless, sort of small caterpillar, they live together. And then when some other fly who a little bit danger or who actually eating, then they live, since they live together, so they act together. Remain like that, I notice. So then those who say, predators.
Predators. Predators.
Then you see a little sort of afraid. Then I also is tested when they remain grouped there, my finger go like that. They again do that. So the mother have some kind of sort of sense. If mother's egg is put one here, then lonely. Some danger come, they cannot defend. So put together, some little sense in the minds of those mother butterfly. I noticed that. So therefore, they all sort of, I think most of the animals, or even insect, the mother has some kind of sense of the responsibility to survive their offspring. Then, like we, human beings, and those, the mammals, which their survival entirely depend on mother's sort of feeding or mother's help. Biologically, the motivation level or emotional level, some kind of sense of sort of tremendous sort of feeling, the sense of concern of their offspring. That brings their energy to work hard for survival of their offspring. So we belong that, and particularly we survive by mother's milk. And birds also, you see, mainly mother feeding. When I was young in Lhasa, in Potala,
Ventilation.
Ventilation, I think. Ventilation. In Potala sort of building, very high. So usually, you see, yellow, dark, or geese.
Geese.
I think yellow geese. You see, usually it's nesting there. So when the egg hatch, then within, I think, few hours, since these birds no milk, And you see, these birds no sort of ability to feeding from distance. Small birds and some other birds, you see, they fly and collect food and feeding, like pigeons. But these birds, I don't know. After only a few hours, you see, the mother is pushing their child from that nest very high. I think
but sometimes 3 stories high.
So then these youngsters, very beautiful, really wonderful, very beautiful, then faint. So that moment, sometimes dogs also come. Sometimes
Eagles.
Eagles and crows. Also, you see, as a pickup. Occasion. So then, I asked the concerned sort of sweepers on the particular area, when those youngsters fell down, and then collect and bring to Nobulinga, where some pond there. So we can protect from danger of eagles or these things. So then, when they collected these youngsters, put in basket. From Potala up to Nobulinga, when the sweeper, you see, bringing that basket, the mother almost, you see, walking. Up to Nobulinga, few kilometers. And the father, little distance fly, then wait, and then again fly, wait. But the mother, whole sort of distance used to go like that. And then I noticed when they, you see, the concerned people you see, brought to me, you see, about the basket, then mother shouting, so ready to sacrifice their own life for the sake of their offspring. This not come from religion, not come from constitution or law, but by nature. So we human beings also is like that. Then I often use it asking people, and expressing or share people, and also some scientists. One time I remember in Oxford, when my talk, some professors, old, very dignified professor in front line. So then I asked one silly question. I asked them, I notice mosquito. You see, when my mood good, then I usually give blood, and provided no malaria danger, then I usually give blood. So then mosquito enjoy blood, and then his or her body. Oh, I heard only her, she, because you see, they need blood in order to reproduce. So looks female mosquito more aggressive. Really, I don't know. In any way, you see, after they sort of enjoy blood, then just fly. No sign of appreciation. So other animal like cat, dogs, or even birds, if you treat them compassionately, warmly, they respond, appreciation. So my question, you see, to those professors, including those professors, you see, what stage brain have the ability to show appreciation? No answer. So maybe in the future, some scientists may carry some sort of research work in any way. So usually, even the animal have the capacity to show affection. and to show sense of concern of their well-being. So we obviously, human being, after our birth, several years, their survival depends on others' care. So that's the way we grown up. And according to scientists, one of my old friend scientist,
Bob Livingston.
Bob Livingston. Now no longer. He once told me, after birth, few weeks, simply mothers touch the boy or the child. This is a very important factor for proper enlargement about their brain. So therefore, the affection, compassion really makes big differences. Those children who receive maximum affection at the beginning of their life, their whole life, more happier. And deep inside, I think less sense of insecurity. Those children